Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe right now to this channel, to my super chat. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody here, thank you for tuning in via super chat. If you want to give me your thoughts or viewpoints on Twitter Files Part 10, let me know. We have a lot to talk about, a lot in terms of geopolitics. The world is breaking down in terms of geopolitics. We'll talk about that. There might, God forbid, be more invasions on the horizon. J Spot 51! The future's so bright, I got. I should have worn my shades. J Spot 51, thank you so very, very, very much. Starting off the super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, be here on this channel at 8 a.m. Pacific every single morning. 8 a.m. Pacific every single morning. I will have a video up. J Spot, Eric Samurai, Stop, Listen, Think, Joel Valdez, none your business, everybody here. I will have a live stream, a YouTube video every morning at 8 a.m. And I might do also a 10 a.m. set in stone. I'm not exactly sure. We'll do a poll on that later tonight on this live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, become a member. Super chat, very important. JSpot51, thank you. Give me your thoughts via super chat on any of these topics. Now, before we get into the topic that was suppressed, I'm not gonna actually, use the exact word, but let's just say you could say we couldn't talk about the banana or the apple because the suppression and censorship goes a long way, even on this platform, every platform, aside from Twitter now. Kristen, hello. Rob, hello. Eric Samurai, hello. But we couldn't talk about a very important topic because it was turned into a sacred cow. It was turned in, ladies and gentlemen, into a sacred cow. David Zweig, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, David Zweig, one of the great reporters and journalists, true journalist, who is breaking Twitter Files Part 10, silencing debate, discussion, dialogue, and discourse. And we could not speak about these issues. Internal files at Twitter that I viewed while on assignment showed that both the Trump and Biden administrations directly pressed Twitter executives to moderate the platform's content. Except Trump wasn't as successful as Biden. And that's being generous here. You're looking at a situation where you have here the Twitter files have exposed menacing Federal Bureau of Investigation behavior, according to Jonathan Turley. And you look, ladies and gentlemen, there's one political side that has been able to impose its narrative viewpoint upon social media companies, and that's the Democratic Party. So you look, ladies and gentlemen, and the truth of the matter is you have a situation where one political side, we can look, there's a couple of really important tweets here. Here. Third, and most importantly, the buck stopped with higher level employees at Twitter who chose the inputs for the bots and decision trees and subjectively decided escalated cases and suspensions. As it is with all people institutions, there was individual and collective bias. The individual and collective bias was against Trump and for the Democratic Party. Joel Valdez, Miss UHA, let me get you a beer. Thank you, Joel Valdez. Thank you. Ninja Reaper, hello. Thank you. Joel Valdez, thank you so very, very, very much as always. Um, the bias here is the Democratic Party's bias. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. When you were in high school, let's say you grew up in the 80s or the 90s or the 70s, let's say, or the 60s, and you are over 35 years old, do you remember a time when people would say, "Oh my God, you're gullible. Don't be gullible"? You remember that word? Don't be so gullible. You remember when it was an insult to be called naive? Do you remember when it was a virtue to question things? It was a virtue to not simply believe what you were told, but actually look into rogue thought. Exactly. It was virtuous. It was a good character trait. It was something positive, not simply to accept what you're told. You were always supposed to think critically. That generation or that era in American history perhaps is gone for the moment. Exactly, Alice. If you're over 30, let's say, this generation of executives within newspapers and CNN, MSNBC, they really love to tell you, they really, really, really love to tell you, um, they really love to tell you, well, you better trust this because it's from an official source. Absolutely. Message boards are terrible. Absolutely terrible. And many Reddit is one example of a message board, but obviously the message boards from, years back. But you should question things. You should not simply adhere to a collective viewpoint that's fabricated, a fabricated consensus. What is the point of having a fabricated consensus? What is the point of having um what is the point of having a viewpoint that is simply the herd mentality? You basically become part of this groupthink, this sheep, this um thank you, Richard. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. There's no point in simply believing everything because an official or an authority told you this is the right, or the government told you. Do you remember a time when if the government said something, immediately you would question whether it was valid? And now that's viewed as, oh my God, you're a horrible person. You're a mean person. You're a terrible person. You're a Trumper. Do you remember what Kamala Harris was saying about, what, when President Trump was in office? I'm not taking Trump's, I don't care. And that turned into, you better take, and you're a bad person, and you'll never work again, and you will be tarnished forever. Do you remember that? It went from, I don't care, I'm not taking anything under Trump's administration, to you better take, and you better, and if you don't, you're a horrible person. That never happened before in American history. And then they say, well, there's examples of where you have to do this and that. Yeah, they're different in a million different ways. Critical thinking is no longer here, it's just groupthink. And a fabricated consensus is a consensus where the dissent, any opposition, any contrarian viewpoint is stifled. And there are times where you should be the 10th dentist. You should definitely be the 10th dentist, absolutely. Okay. It's interesting because exactly, Andrew. We were I was brought up reading George Orwell's 1984, Big Brother, learning to question. Critical thinking skills are about asking the right questions. Maybe there's a political motivation to these things. Maybe there's a political motivation to the government telling you to do something. And the interesting thing is that that type of critical thinking only happened when Trump was president. To an extent, everyone was skeptical on the left of Trump. Everyone was suspicious. But then when Trump left office, if you were suspicious or skeptical of Biden, you were a horrible human being. And they create these, it's not just about the topic we're discussing that I'm not mentioning directly, but you know exactly what I'm talking about, which is what the Twitter Files 10 is about. Okay, it's a number of topics. What they do is they make it so polite society um, banishes you, excommunicates you if you don't agree with the collective or the consensus among the smartest people in the room. That's a documentary about Enron, by the way, the smartest people in the room. The smartest people in the room thought Sam Bankman Fried was a genius. The smartest people in the room thought Bernie Madoff was brilliant. The smartest people in the room thought Enron was an amazing company. Actually gave it a buy, strong buy, months before it went under. The smartest people in the room, who's that lady that with that test? The forgot she Theranos, and he has 10 years now in prison, something like that. The smartest people in the room are routinely duped. They routinely engage. The smartest people in the room said there was WMD. Chad Davis. I don't care what his name is. I call him H.A. Bestman because no one is better. Oklahoma loves H.A. Iraq vets love H.A. I love Oklahoma. I love Iraq veterans. Chad Davis, we love you on this channel. Thank you, Chad Davis. Thank you so very much. And I love Oklahoma too. I don't know. I just have a. I always, even when I was a kid, I liked the Sooners, but I bleed Cardinal and gold. I'm a USC Trojan fan, but I always like the Sooners. I don't know why. Uh, I like Oklahoma. I don't know why. Thomas O'Connor. Thomas, thank you. Keep up the good work. Happy New Year. If I don't see you, Happy New Year to you. And God bless you, Thomas O'Connor, and God bless you, Chad. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thomas O'Connor, thank you so very, very much. So sweet of you, so kind of you. Thank you, as always. Chad, thank you. Um, I love Barry Switzer. I always love Barry Switzer. I really, always. I watch interviews with him on YouTube all the time. He's awesome. He is a fantastic, fantastic football coach. Um, Chad, thank you again. Thank you, Chad. And thank you, Thomas O'Connor. Thank you so very, very, very much. Greatly appreciated. There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, where we used to be able to be different. Like, for example, if you listen to punk rock, these bands, these punk bands in the 80s, 70s, 80s, even 90s were different. Now, you'll get kicked out of a band. You will get kicked out of a band, a rock and roll band. Chad and Thomas O'Connor, everybody here, you'll get kicked out of a rock and roll band if you don't have the same viewpoint as all of Hollywood, all of the record industry, I mean, if you don't have the same viewpoint as intel agencies and Hollywood directors and morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats who create a fabricated consensus where all dissent is silenced and marginalized, then you're a bad person. There have been rock and roll bands that kicked out individuals who didn't subscribe to the prevailing mentality on a number of topics. And what they do is they have sacred cows, just like in the Bible, these sacred cows that Democrats and media and the mainstream and polite society erect. Oh my goodness. What kind of word is that? They they create these sacred cows. And if you disagree, you've committed heresy, blasphemy. Suddenly, lifelong friends disown you. You're not a good person anymore. And guess what? You're probably right. Now we have nuclear confrontation. Now we have a big problem. Victory Guard, thank you. Donnie B, thank you. Exactly, Donnie B. There used to be a time, Chad and Thomas O'Connor and everybody here, where you could be yourself. You could be yourself, but now, if you don't fall in line with the mainstream, there's a big problem. Suddenly, people and friends say, you can't do that. You can't. They make absurd leaps of logic. I mean, you look at what's taken place, everybody here. You look at what's taken place. I mean, is this good? You tell me if this is good. Is this good? Is this the adults in the room? You tell me if it's good. I don't think it's good. The most populous country in the world sends record number of fighter jets towards Taiwan. You think this is good? This is bad. If this was happening under Trump, it would be end of the world scenario. Oh my God, Trump, Trump, Trump. And now we have Biden, and it's, oh, well, that's bizarre. Oh, well, that's not happening. With Trump, if this happened with Trump, with Biden, it's, that's interesting. Why is that a record number? Well, at least it's good as a record number. That's good. Well, that's bizarre. Shouldn't, at least Trump isn't tweeting. I mean, this is bad. Very bad. Very bad. Exactly, Hannah. They change the meaning of words because they lose arguments. If they speak, if wonderful, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrats spoke in the same vernacular, with the same semantics, the same words that we utilized in 2015, they wouldn't win an argument. And that's also, George Orwell called euphemisms verbal refuse. Rob White. Remember, they denigrated Trump before and after, but the current, but the current. Yeah, well, they're not denigrating him. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Rob White. They went after Trump. Unfortunately, it's become a high school class. That's what this is all about. A high school class, a dysfunctional high school. Rob and Chad and Thomas O'Connor, thank you so much. To my super chat, thank you. In high school, thank God I had a good high school experience, but I know people who didn't. And in high school, let's say you have a dysfunctional high school and you're picked on because you're different. Well, that's the same thing in the United States of America. If you're different, if you have a different philosophy, if you have a different mentality, you can't talk about foreign policy. You can't talk about domestic policy. You can't talk about how you want to live your life, because if how you want to live your life and how you want the country to go isn't exactly like the terrible quagmires we see now, the failed policies of what's going on, the obvious graft and corruption with Hunter and FTX and Joe Biden and the economy. We're going into a recession now with the now we have nuclear possible annihilation. I don't think it's going to happen. We're a lot closer, actually, than we ever were with Trump. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, the 2022 Nuclear Year in Review, a global nuclear order in shambles, but at least Trump isn't tweeting. I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? And then they don't even, let's say, are they even talking about, oh, Lord, do they even bring up mashed potato? I mean, let's do a word search here for mashed potato brains. One, in the United States, the much anticipated, look at this, The much anticipated was finally released in October, only to deceive experts. The NPR has been. What? That's the only thing? How about his foreign policy stinks? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand this. Things are objectively worse. But at least Trump isn't tweeting. And then, if you want to say, well, at least the economy is good, wrong. Wrong. As Trump would say, wrong. Economy in recession, recession, nuclear confrontation and recession. And if this happens in Asia and there's an invasion, God forbid, of Taiwan, what on earth do you think is going to take place? I mean, it's unbelievable. Rob, thank you again. Rob White, thank you. King Chisholm's hello. Everything is objectively worse, but we had to adhere to exactly what the Federal Bureau, Department of Homeland, other administrations, and they were just working with private entities. Maybe the experts are wrong. Maybe, um, maybe you have people who didn't adhere to the conventional mentality that were right, or had points to make that were silenced. When you silence debate, you harm people more than just allowing the debate. That's another thing. I'm not going to listen to lyrics of a song and then commit a crime. We learned this in the 90s. Okay? We learned this in the 90s or 80s. Interestingly enough, one of the rock and roll stars who went up against testified in front of Al Gore, he can't stand Trump, and even he was on The Apprentice also. It's so bizarre how they don't realize that it only takes 30 years for a person who is against censorship to be on the side of the people who want to suppress speech. It's interesting. Tig, hello HA community. Tig, thank you. Hello. Hello, Tig, thank you. What happened to being an individual? Well, not to get too, it's not my style. It's not my style to call people communists. That's not my style. I don't do that. If you watch the channel, I'm not. I don't speak like that. But there is, there are a lot of Democrats who are okay with communism. I never speak like that. But there are a lot of left leaning, let's say left leaning people who vote Democrat who are okay with communism, Soviet style communism. And they're very proud of it too. It's not like that's not an insult, by the way. It is. I mean, it is. It would be insulting if somebody said that to me. But if you were to describe a lot of people on the left, they'd be okay with that. I'm not talking about the majority of liberal Democrats. I'm talking about a great many on the left who always vote Democrat, who are okay with censorship. They're okay with the state. Yeah, man. H.A. Goodman, welcome Coachisms to your channel tonight. Thank you. Yeah, man. Thank you. Coachisms is fantastic. I mean, if it's about like old school coaches, how they speak, or coaches, Rob White, H.A. Go on Truth, message Trump about AZ. I should. I don't. I should do that, but I don't. I don't have a true social account. Rogue Thought. KGB used to monitor, censor, and label those who spoke out against state's official policy. How is this different? It isn't. It's the same thing. Rogue Thought. Yeah, man. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Yeah, man. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Tig. Thank you. Rogue Thought. It's exactly the same. Oh, nice. Yeah, coachisms. Thank you. Yeah, man. You know the best thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you have friends, family who would enjoy this, bringing them to this channel would be so awesome. Um, there's some coach isms that I'm not going to bring up now, but it's about when I was playing football in high school. It's one thing they would always tell you. I don't know if it's not appropriate for me to say in the live stream, but always keep your head up. You have to keep your head up when you tackle, not God forbid down. Keep your head up and wrap, but also like because if you didn't keep your head up like this, um, there was a coachism that they would say. I don't even want to bring it up, but you know that's the old school mentality of the very direct coach speak. If you talk, it's like coachism. I mean, I think that's important. Yeah, man. Thank you. Coachism. Hello. Rogue Thought. Yeah, man. Tig. Thank you so much. To my super chat. Thank you. They did a number on us, ladies and gentlemen. They did a number on this country. They did a number on the world. And the people who didn't give in, the people um who did their own thing and who didn't just fall in line, I think that those people prospered more so as long as they didn't hurt anybody. The true heroes. Check out Coachisms, everybody. Check out Coachisms channel. Um, the true heroes are people who gave information that the powers that be or that the collective would not allow you to listen to. You should be able to decide and decipher what is good for you in life because you're smart enough, you're talented enough, you're educated enough. You don't need an expert to tell you to invest in FTX. You don't need a financial advisor who's an expert. You know, they were experts in crypto. You know, Sam Bankman Fried was an expert. Bernie Madoff was an expert. Lots of people are experts. Lots of people are authorities in a lot of things. They're sometimes dreadfully wrong. That's why you should be able to decide, you should be able to decipher what is an appropriate risk reward cost benefit analysis when it's buying a car, when it's investing your 401k, or when it's whatever, if it's something you're putting in your body. You can decide that with the proper guidance from, authorities. That's a factor in your decision making. But guess what? You decide the cost benefit analysis on everything. To cross the road, you decide the cost benefit analysis, the risk reward ratio. You decide, not some moron someplace in a government, not our government, because we're a very good government. We have a good government, not our. We have the best government ever. The best government ever. I didn't mean our government. Everything that our government said is 100% correct. I'm talking about some person who lacks wisdom in some bureaucracy someplace telling you how you should live your life because that's the correct way to live your life. As long as you're not breaking the law and you're prospering and you're loving and treating the people close to you good and you're making enough money to survive and live happy and you are, you know, pay your taxes and you're a good citizen, what more is there to ask of anybody? But that's not enough. Do you understand? It's not enough for the highly educated, morally superior, completely fabricated consensus. They have to tell you what's good and what's bad, and they have to make leaps of logic. If you don't listen to us, people will lose their lives. You have no evidence to prove that absurd leap of logic, but they say that all the time. And then I love this thing that they would always talk about. They would always say, uh, They would always say, they would always talk about caution, caution, left trucks, hello. They would say, Trump has stated something that is not true. Don't listen to Trump. Tide, yeah, man, Rob White, Rogue Thought, thank you. They would say, don't listen to Trump. I haven't had a Twitter account since late 2018, but I would find that so amusing. What a stupid thing to do. What a really stupid thing to do. To put a disclaimer below the president's tweets, even if you disagree with him. Caution, this has been disputed by the educated authorities to let you know everything is safe and happy. And what Trump is trying to do is give you suspicion and doubt. You don't want the negative emotions that Trump elicits. Brought to you by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Who looks at that disclaimer? What Democrat, did you see what Trump said? It had a disclaimer. It said caution. Don't listen to Trump. And that means that it must be wrong. I don't have any critical thinking skills. It's like it was not difficult to. I saw what was going on too the past 3 years, and I was not on. I was not one of the people. Because I couldn't be in the past year or so. I couldn't be one of the people who were true heroes. There were a lot of heroes, and I'm not going to bring up their names, but I think that you would probably know who they are, who spoke truth to power, you know. Maybe I did some of that in 2016, 2015, but really there were people who risked everything and lost everything and now are battling and now are winning. There were people who really went up against a monstrosity, a public relations monstrosity. And they did, and it was so easy. It was so easy to understand the huge, absurd leaps of logic, how numbers were twisted, how the numbers should have told you the actual numbers should have told you that the prevailing mentality made no sense on a lot of things. On a lot of things. It's not difficult also, like you don't need to be educated, you need wisdom. This has also nothing to do with education, by the way. Intelligence and education come far below wisdom in my mind. You need wisdom, okay? Wisdom is the most important. The correct decision making, the correct cost benefit analysis, the correct risk reward ratio that you decide upon. Deciding what the best course of action is for you and your family for the long term, not for the short term. Being able to ignore the group, the herd, and be yourself. That's I think what life should be about. Yeah, man. Light them up like a Christmas tree. Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Yeah, man. It's better to be a critical thinker than to see my allegiance, my loyalty is definitely not to a political party. If Trump, God forbid, decided not to run anymore, if DeSantis decided not to take over for Trump, and if it was Mitt Romney, I wouldn't vote Republican because I don't want never ending counterinsurgency conflicts. So, because I wasn't born into this world to vote Republican, my YouTube channel would be the same, but I wouldn't just pick a candidate. I'd be like, yeah, it's Mitt Romney versus Biden. So tell me what the difference is, please. Tell me what the difference would be, because I don't know. You wouldn't. There are. If Mitt Romney became a Democrat, the majority of Democrats would vote Democrat. The same people who disown friends and family, if if um, Liz Cheney became the Democratic nominee, they would vote for her. They would have no problem voting for Liz Cheney if MSNBC and CNN told them to do so. Donnie B, hello. Yeah, man. Thank you for being a member as well and for your support. You have a situation where collective bias, I mean, it is just like high school. In high school, I mean, it's like the book Lord of the Flies. Who's read Lord of the Flies? Okay. That is a case study on how the collective could be very nasty. Okay. The collective, the uh, groupthink is not a good thing. And also, here's the thing, this is why government agencies get involved. This is why government agencies get involved. That's right, SDRC. Nobody would listen. Would you listen to the Democratic Party and to CNN and MSNBC if it would you listen to them? Would most people listen to them if not for New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Washington Post, New Yorker, New York Magazine? Would you listen to them? If would the majority of Americans listen to the prevailing mentality on any topic if it weren't continually every single day, 100 times a day, pushed upon the American people? No, you wouldn't change the definition of words. That wouldn't happen without a concerted effort to do so. You know, that's why when you had government agencies silencing debate and discussion, that was a big problem. It was a big problem because you were not allowing people to make an educated, just decision. You were only giving a certain viewpoint, and you were silencing and drowning out and trying to suppress. And the same thing with the Hunter story. Most Americans did not have all the facts and all the information. They did not have all the information. They did not have all the facts and data. They didn't have everything. So you didn't know about Hunter. And even now they're like, you can't prove it. You can't prove it. Well, you can't. You can prove a lot more with Hunter than you can with Trump. That's for sure. You could prove a lot more with Hillary and private service. By the way, I think Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee in 24. I know. I know. But if not 24, 28, if not 28, 32, if not 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 60, 2060, I'll be right. I'll be like, yeah, I'm right. What's up? In 2060. I'll be like in a motorized little vehicle. What did I tell you about him? What's up? Hillary 2060. Should be the nominee one day. But, Tammy, hello. But you look, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of this is Donnie, hello. Joel Valdez. Phased by Moon. Say his names. Say his name. Say his name. Yeah, man. In other words, she's going to keep trying. Exactly. Exactly. Alice, I agree too. Joel Valdez, Faced by Moons, hello. Hello. Nina, hello. And here's the real issue. This is why I vote for Trump. I try to explain this. We didn't have this. And then John Bolton was on MSNBC. He's like, oh, yeah, it would have been worse. What's taking place in Europe would have been worse. Like, it didn't happen under Trump. That's one way to look at it. It's like giving your car keys to somebody and they total the car and they say, well, if you were driving, it would have been much worse than this totaled car. It's like, no, no, no. I was driving. It didn't happen. I gave you the keys. You totaled the car. What right do you have to talk? But it's like the cognitive dissonance is impenetrable. It's completely impenetrable, so they don't care. By the way, there is a fantastic, fantastic channel that I want everyone to subscribe to. Now we have like 400 plus viewers. I don't know. I don't think they support Trump, but they're excellent, excellent, excellent at pointing out hypocrisy and the shortcomings of wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats who are generally wrong on most things. The channel is called Do Dissidents. They're absolutely fantastic. They have about 4,000 subs. They should have 100,000 subs. They really should. Do Dissidents. They're absolutely fantastic. And again, like, I don't like, they might not agree with me or you on everything to do with politics. Um, but they're absolutely enjoyable, intelligent, awesome. I suggest you subscribe because you know what they do? They will look at pundits on the left and they will eviscerate them in a beautiful manner. It's absolutely lovely. It's lovely. You'll love it. Anyway, do dissidents. Very intelligent discourse, discussion on a lot of topics. And yeah, they're about 4,000. They should get 100,000 subs. They're awesome. Do dissidents. Subscribe to their channel, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, so you look and we weren't talking about this. We weren't talking about the possible end of the planet. Thank you. Electric Divergent, awesome. Coachism, awesome. Thank you so much. We weren't talking about this. And by the way, do you know what the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists said about Trump? These are very intelligent, wonderful people. Believe they're many of whom are liberal Democrats. Fantastic people. They have the doomsday clock. It should be like right at midnight now. It should be like 2 minutes, like 10 seconds from midnight. God forbid. But they're like, if this was Trump, they would have had the 2022 nuclear year review. Trump brings us on the brink of global annihilation. They would have had that. They would have had that. That's what it would have been. That's what would have been the issue. It's hard to find. It's hard to find a year more filled with more concerns. See, the way Democrats read this is it's hard to find a year filled with more concerns about nuclear risks in 2022. There surely was 1986. There was also 1962. And of course, there was 1945. But this year, all sorts of nuclear risks coincided. If it was Trump and we Biden, that's how Democrats do it. If it was Trump, it's hard to find a year worse than 2026. It's all in presentation. It's all in the way um Phased by moons. That would not be. So if I was like, Joel Valdez, thank you, Joel. I appreciate your support. I don't know, phased by moons, if that would work. Phased by moons, thank you so very much. I don't know how that would work, but um, it's ah. Joel Valdez, I want to thank you. Trump's humor is above all. It drives them crazy. Thank you, Joel. Joel Valdez, my man. I was just trying to read the super chat like phased by moons. Joel Valdez. Thank you. Trump's humor is above. It is he. Trump's humor is amazing. Here, let me give you the. Let me give. What was Trump did the Trump Christmas? This is the best. Hold on one second. The Daily Beast had. Hold on. Was it Daily Beast? Trump calls himself unhinged. Unhinged Christmas message. Unhinged. What a loony. Rambling Truth Social Post. Okay, so Joel Valdez here. Ah, Merry Christmas to Merry Christmas to everyone, including the radical left Marxists that are just trying to destroy the country. The bureau that is illegally coercing and paying lamestream to push for over a brilliant, clairvoyant, USA-loving Donald J. Trump, and of course the Department of Injustice, which is appointed special prosecutor who love to all. Love to all, yeah. This is the best. What's there not to love about this? They like the morally superior and love. Oh my God, Trump! This is just like the 1930s and 1940s. No, it's not. Person who knows nothing about history. No, it's not. Joel Valdez. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, you can't get better than this, Joel. You can't. Merry Christmas to everyone, including the radical Marxists that are trying to destroy the country. Ah, it's so funny. It's so fantastic. The bureau that's illegally coercing and paying lamestream to push him. And then the only thing they get is he called himself clairvoyant and unhinged. They always accuse Trump of unhinged. Meanwhile, Fetterman and Biden are like, and they're like, so courageous. Biden and Fetterman, you'd have a better chance deciphering whale sounds. You would get like, oh, you're hungry, or you're doing this. Oh, I can understand you so much better than Pennsylvania senator and our current president. Pennsylvania's current senator, the Democrat, communicates like Yoda. If Yoda was an alcoholic, everything you like when he was debating Oz, everything was like two run-on sentences ending with a question mark. Oz, yeah, and Oswell lives in New Jersey. He does. Oh yes, let's vote for him. This is hilarious. This is so funny. Merry Christmas to everyone, including those trying to destroy our country. It's like saying grace, you know, and like, Lord, thank you, God, for this food. And please help Timmy, who's hanging out with the wrong people and doing the wrong things and absolutely terrible human being sitting right next to me, Lord. Thank you for the food. Amen. I mean, it's the best. This is this is the best. People who are like, oh, sure, yeah. See, but here, that's another thing. He needs to change it up a tiny bit. If he's gonna do this, then he has to actually go on CNN and MSNBC and speak to the people he's talking about. Yo, Valdez! The funniest, most stable genius of our time and humble as Exactly. 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 Electric divergent. Exactly. Oh, Valdez, thank you. Ernest, thank you. So, I mean, here you have, I mean, it's everything here. It's like, we weren't talking about this with Trump. We weren't. The biggest thing, they were more indignant over the Helsinki conference, you believe, with Trump and Vladimir, than this or this recession. Wow. 2023 recession will be comparable to financial crisis. That's why he bought Twitter when he did. That's why he bought Twitter when he did. See, and this is something, ladies and gentlemen, that I've been trying to kind of tell everybody here. It's like a lot of people, here's the thing. There are people who are okay with a recession. They just don't want Trump. And that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Joel Valdez, thank you. That's the problem. You don't want a situation where people will say, "Oh, I'm fine. It's okay. It's okay. You know what? It's fine. I'll take a recession. I just don't want Trump." Joel Valdez, thank you again. That's the issue that Trump has to, and along with state parties. You have a situation where there are a number of people throughout the country who are okay with recession and nuclear confrontation as long as Trump isn't in the picture. They're obsessed with him. They are obsessed with him. They're absolutely obsessed with Trump. And it's an unhealthy, completely irrational obsession. And Twitter under the old regime helped foment this obsession. Also, if Trump had, this is the thing. I think he miscalculated a bit in terms of some of his tweets, or maybe a lot of his tweets. He didn't realize that he was giving political momentum. Indignation is the lifeblood of the Democratic Party. They love to be indignant. They derive a great deal of their political will and momentum from indignation. That's why they're able to kind of like, and Joel, thank you so very much. Donnie B, pretty much. They're able to deal with all of these issues like recession, all of these problems they don't care about. They don't care about. as long as they don't have Trump. That's not rational. That is not rational at all. It's irrational. But that's the way it is. Mary, exactly. And that's something that I think is a political obstacle for Trump. I think he has to address that. I think that if he doesn't address that, it's going to be a problem. And also, like I always say, the state parties, the Georgia and Republican state parties, he has to make peace or detente or some kind of olive branch. The Georgia and Republican, the Georgia and Arizona Republican state parties, he has to make peace with them. If he doesn't make peace with the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties, it's going to be a big problem. There's no way to win in 24. 550 people here. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way to win in 20. There's no path to victory in the Electoral College or anywhere in 24 if Trump does not make some kind of alliance, offer some kind of olive branch, make some kind of peace, create detente, some kind of union or alliance with the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties. It ain't going to work. They simply don't want to back Trump. They simply want to. They will actually do everything possible to help in a political sense by not backing Trump, his opponent. So Herschel Walker, they barely backed only a couple of days before the recall. So there has to be. I mean, the thing is, like, there are no never Bidens. That's the issue. There are no never Bidens. There are no never Bidens. There's no such thing as a Democrat that doesn't fall in line with the Democratic nominee, or they will. And it's not just the Democratic Party. They used to have Twitter. Thank God they don't anymore. They used to have a billion, possibly $1 billion in FTX money. They don't have that anymore. Okay. They don't have Twitter. They don't have FTX. They don't have the House of Representatives. It's a completely different ballgame for the next 2 years. Now, with Kevin McCarthy, he will consistently, he'll probably become the Speaker of the House, but he'll consistently be pushed towards impeachment, investigation of FTX, um, Twitter. The Republicans in the House are going to investigate the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You can't have these intel and law enforcement agencies siding with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Okay? 20 years ago, the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people had almost complete control of the media narrative and also the support of government officials. All right? Very much so. Very much, especially in the intel community. Now, Democrats have wrestled control away. Don't think that Trump won't be able to do the same, but he has to make peace with the Arizona and Georgia Republican parties. He must do that. If he doesn't do that, ain't gonna work. And that's what I'm like, you know what? We can have a recession, which unfortunately we will, and still people will and still people will not vote for Trump. By the way, I need you to answer this and tell me what I should do. After my 8 a.m. segment every morning, the next time for a segment should be what? So after my 8 a.m. segment on YouTube every morning, okay? Should it be 10 a.m. Pacific or 11 a.m. Pacific. So I'm thinking of making two scheduled videos every morning. I have an 8 a.m., so be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific. That's set in stone. But I'm thinking of making a second video, like upload at a specific time that doesn't change. So give me your thoughts on this. So here's my 8 a.m. Pacific time segment on YouTube every morning to the 560 people. I need your advice for how I should I make it a 10 a.m. segment right after the 8 a.m. or an 11 a.m. segment? Wow, everyone's saying 11 already. It's right there, ladies and gentlemen. Should it be a 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. segment, ladies and gentlemen? Pacific time. All right. All right. So 11, it looks like 11 a.m. People are gravitating towards 11 a.m. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. So for the next forever on this channel, um, expect an 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. And then I might start doing a 9 a.m. on H.A. Goodman's other channel, and then maybe a 12. So in the morning, you can expect two segments, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on this channel. Exactly. Stop, listen, think. Thank you. So I'll do that then. Every morning at 8 a.m., be here on H.A. Goodman, and every morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time, be here. Patricia, hello. So, Larry, hello. So, yeah, I mean, we're heading into a recession. The Twitter files are showing us that discourse, debate, discussion, dialogue in the United States of America was being silenced and curtailed and suppressed by government agencies. This is a First Amendment violation. A First Amendment violation. That's what the First Amendment protects against. But see, again, there's a very communist mentality among people who would defend this type of behavior. They think that because a government official did something, it must be right, or said something, it must be right. Because a government agency adhered to a consensus that was fabricated to begin with, then it must be right. You must be on the. If you disagree with consensus, then there's something wrong with you. That's what we're. The consensus is fabricated, though. It's completely fabricated. There is no consensus among any topic for the past 5-6 years that hasn't been influenced by censorship and suppression of speech and dialogue and information. They kept saying, if you don't listen to us, people will lose their lives. And it's like, no, no, no. You negatively impacted the lives of untold number of Americans and people around the world by suppressing information, by demonizing people who would speak up. Look, people don't like the truth. They despise it. People who were telling the truth, speaking truth to power, are immediately silenced and disparaged and demeaned. Like you think growing up that being on the side of truth or speaking truth to power is a good thing. That's not, unfortunately, Lisa, hello, that's not the way things are. J-Man, that's right. So be here tomorrow also, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. So 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. on this channel. I will always have, ladies and gentlemen, a live stream. I mean, sorry, uploads, YouTube videos, uploads on this channel, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. So you just always, always, always have be here on this channel when you're driving to work or drinking coffee or having breakfast. Just always be here at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. But yeah, I mean, 2023 is going to be an amazing year. 2023 is going to be an amazing year. 24 is going to be the culmination of 8 years, 8 years of politics, where politics unfortunately became part of pop culture, which is very sad. Pop culture should have nothing to do with politics at all. But I miss the days where you could watch the Grammys or the Emmys or an award show. Joe Valdez! I'll take masterful manipulators and intelligence experts for 500, please. Ah, ha, 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 ha. That's right. Hetty, hello. Joel Valdez! And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you have friends, family who might enjoy this live stream, I should have a live stream every evening at around 8, 9 p.m. Pacific. So we're going to have these Twitter files. There'll probably be a Twitter files part 30. So just be here on this channel. We'll give the analysis on the Twitter files. Thank you, J-Man. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific on this channel. Be here always. From here on out forever. I'll have an 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on this channel. So just expect that. Expect that for this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Joel Valdez, I cannot thank you enough as always. I'll take masterful manipulators for 500 and intelligence experts for 500. And then I've heard this before, like, oh, John Brennan, they're doing so much. They're helping, they're trying to protect you. I was like, what? Are you serious? You must be serious. You must not be serious. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless everybody here. Chad, everyone here. Thomas O'Connor. Yeah, man. Everybody here. Joel Valdez. Thank you so very, very much, people. 500 plus people here. I am honored and I thank you so much. Hit subscribe to this channel. Be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. And we've decided on this channel, I mean, this live stream right now, 11 a.m. Pacific time, always on this channel. Be here, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific on this channel at all times. Everybody, thanks so much. God bless you all. Thank you so very, very much. To my super chat, Joel Valdez, everybody here, Chad, Thomas O'Connor, yeah, man, everybody here. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Be here on this channel at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific every morning. Just set your clock and expect 2 segments. And at 11 a.m., we found out today that was the best time on the poll here. So